Something so big has happened in Japan today, which has set off alarm bells around the financial world, and you have to understand what is happening. Well, for the past almost 3 decades, you could borrow in Japan at just about 0%. So what was everyone doing? All major financial institutions as well as people in Japan, they would borrow money at just about 0% and invest it elsewhere in the world. For example, if they would buy US bonds, they could make 3-4% per annum. If they would invest in US equities, they could make about 8% per annum. If they would invest in, say, bonds in India, they could make about 6% per annum. And everyone was having a jolly good time, because even after removing expenses of, currency conversion, forex fluctuation and everything, people were still making about 3-4% because money was available to borrow at 0% interest rate. But that has now changed. In fact, today on the 19th of November, interest rates in Japan have reached almost 2.8%, which is possibly the highest interest rate in the past almost 25 years. And you have to understand what this has done. Well, if people were making just about 3-4% by doing this, suddenly, now they're losing out on almost 3%, and their entire profit margin could be wiped out if there is any more increase in this interest rate, which is why the financial world has gone into massive panic, because Japanese, not just institutions, but financial institutions around the world would now want to sell off their investments in US equities and repay the debt in Japan. And if that happens, the stock markets could actually crash. But what you must also understand is, why is it that suddenly the interest rates in Japan have gone up? Because inflation in Japan has gone up by over 2.5%, but inflation in wages has been practically equal to zero. The real wage rate has been negative, and the Japanese government, to curtail that, is increasing interest rate, which is why there are two objectives in finance. One is wealth creation, the other is wealth preservation. And you must, at this time in the world, focus on wealth preservation, because times are risky, and share it with someone who may need it.